There will come a day when your name is spoken in a room you are no longer in. The question is not whether that day will arrive. It will. The question is what will follow your name: silence, confusion, regret, or strength, gratitude, direction. Most men spend their lives earning a living and never pause to design a legacy. They work, they provide, they endure, but they do not prepare what remains when they are gone. And that is a dangerous oversight. You have planned vacations, you have planned purchases, you have planned retirement, but have you planned your influence beyond your presence? Have you written down the principles you stand for? Have you structured your wealth, your wisdom, your example so it multiplies rather than scatters? Or have you assumed there will be time later? There is a peculiar illusion that surrounds departure. We live as though it applies to others. We postpone difficult conversations. We delay writing instructions. We avoid defining values clearly. And in doing so, we leave those we love with uncertainty. That is not strength. That is drift. Imagine this: your children or those you care for sitting at a table after you're gone. They search for guidance. They wonder what you truly believed. They ask, what would he have wanted? And there is no written answer. That silence can undo years of labor. But picture the opposite: a document, clear, deliberate, not only detailing assets, but values, not only dividing property, but defining principles, a letter that explains your definite chief aim, a statement that outlines what you learned about faith, persistence, service, integrity. That is legacy. Legacy is not merely money. Money without instruction can weaken character. Wealth without philosophy can disappear in a generation. But wealth paired with purpose can fortify a family for decades. You have more to pass on than possessions. You have experience. You have hard-earned lessons. You have scars that taught you discipline. You have victories that proved persistence works. Why let those die with you? The legacy plan begins not with fear, but with responsibility. It asks, what will continue because I lived? What structure have I built that outlives my breath? What habits have I modeled so clearly that others can imitate them? Many avoid this subject because it feels uncomfortable, but avoidance is not protection. Planning is protection. Consider the law of cause and effect. Every thought you have repeated has shaped your character. Every habit you have practiced has shaped your results. In the same way, every instruction you leave will shape the future of those who follow you. If you leave nothing definite, you leave confusion. If you leave clarity, you leave strength. The most powerful legacy is a written philosophy combined with organized resources, a clear will, a clear set of values, a clear explanation of your aims and the principles that governed your life. Do not assume your intentions are obvious. Write them. Do not assume your lessons are remembered. Record them. Do not assume your wealth will be managed wisely. Structure it. This is not morbid thinking. It is master thinking. The same discipline that builds fortune must also preserve it. The same definiteness that creates success must also protect it. Ask yourself, if today were your final opportunity to instruct those you love, what would you say? Would you urge them toward faith, toward disciplined thought, toward service beyond pay, toward courage in the face of temporary defeat? Then say it in writing, and do more than speak. Organize, consult those who understand law and finance. Put your estate in order. Remove ambiguity. Design the flow of assets so they empower, not divide. Legacy is intentional. It does not assemble itself. There is also another dimension: example. The life you live now is a blueprint. If you drift, they will learn drift. If you complain, they will learn complaint. If you pursue purpose with vigor, they will inherit ambition. Your daily conduct is part of your estate. The legacy plan is not only about what you leave when you depart, it is about what you model while you remain. Ignore this responsibility and your efforts may dissolve. Embrace it and your influence may extend generations beyond your years. You cannot control how long you will live, but you can control what remains because you lived. The wise man does not wait until frailty to design his departure. He prepares while his mind is sharp. He documents while his memory is clear. He gives instructions while his voice is strong. There is dignity in that. One day your name will be spoken in your absence. Decide now what it will represent: a life that merely existed, or a life that constructed something lasting. The legacy plan begins with clarity, and clarity begins today. Most men confuse inheritance with legacy, and in doing so, they leave behind division instead of direction. Inheritance is what is transferred. Legacy is what continues. Money may be counted and distributed in a single afternoon. Influence extends through generations. If you do not deliberately define what must survive you, circumstance will define it poorly. The first responsibility of a legacy plan is clarity. Ask yourself plainly, what must continue because I lived? If the answer is merely property, you have underestimated your life. Property without philosophy can weaken those who receive it. Philosophy without property may leave strength but no structure. The wise man combines both. Begin by distinguishing between what you own and what you believe. What principles governed your decisions? What habits shaped your success? What standards did you refuse to violate? If those remain undefined, those who follow you will inherit assets but not instruction. Silence is dangerous. When your name is spoken after your departure, what will it represent? Will it represent discipline, courage, faith, organized effort, integrity? Or will it represent hard work without explanation? A man who labors without clarifying his guiding ideas leaves confusion behind him. Confusion breeds conflict. Conflict dissolves unity. You must therefore write a personal statement of values, not poetic sentiment, but clear declaration. State what you stood for. State what you believed about money, responsibility, service, and character. Carnegie's influence endured not merely because of wealth, but because his philosophy of industry and service was recorded and applied. Written principles become anchors. Unspoken intentions evaporate. If you drift through life without clarifying your code, those who follow you will attempt to guess it. Guesswork is unstable foundation. Define now what must endure. Let this affirmation guide your thinking. My life produces ordered strength beyond my years. Speak it as you write. Clarity today can prevent decades of misunderstanding later. Consider how many families fracture not because of lack of affection, but because of lack of instruction. The absence of definition invites assumption. Assumption invites disagreement. A legacy plan begins by eliminating assumption. Write plainly what you expect, what you value, and what you hope will continue. This is not an act of control. It is an act of stewardship. The same definiteness that builds fortune must preserve it. The same discipline that shaped your career must shape your departure. When you define what must continue, you transform your life from event into structure. Structure remains when presence departs. That is legacy. After you have defined what must continue beyond your presence, the next responsibility is to preserve the thinking that built your life. Most men assume their children or associates understand what they believe. They assume their lessons have been absorbed through observation. This assumption is dangerous. Memory fades, interpretation shifts, silence invites distortion. If you do not record your philosophy deliberately, it may vanish quietly, leaving wealth without guidance and history without instruction. You must therefore treat your ideas as structured capital. Sit in deliberate solitude and write a letter addressed to those who will one day speak your name in your absence. In that letter, explain your definite chief aim. Explain why you chose it. Describe the failures that tested you and the persistence that carried you beyond them. Tell them what you learned about fear, about doubt, about the value of disciplined thought. Tell them how faith sustained you when evidence was not yet visible. Write plainly about money. Explain what it meant to you. Was it security? Was it opportunity? Was it responsibility? Clarify how you believe it should be handled, guarded, and multiplied. Wealth without philosophy can weaken character. Wealth paired with instruction can fortify it. Many fortunes dissolve within a generation not because of misfortune, but because of absence of guidance. The written word carries authority beyond spoken memory. A recorded principle cannot be altered by rumor. It stands. Carnegie's clarity of purpose guided institutions long after his voice was silent. You may not build libraries across a nation, but you can build clarity within your own circle. Record the scars as well as the victories. Speak honestly of mistakes. Explain what you misunderstood in youth. Explain what you corrected in maturity. These admissions transform embarrassment into instruction. A child who reads how you overcame temporary defeat inherits courage. A successor who understands your reasoning inherits judgment. Let this affirmation strengthen your resolve. My words guide when my voice is silent. Speak it before you write. Do not wait until frailty forces urgency. Document while memory is sharp and conviction steady. The discipline required to build success must now be applied to preserve meaning. Right of service beyond pay. Right of integrity when compromise would have been easier. Right of the importance of organized planning and accurate thinking. These are not abstract ideas, they are tools. Tools must be handed down with explanation. When your philosophy is recorded, confusion loses ground. Those who follow you will not need to guess what you valued. They will not wonder what you intended. They will read it. And in reading, they will inherit more than property. They will inherit perspective. That perspective may save them years of error. Years saved become strength multiplied. If you fail to record it, silence will fill the space. And silence rarely strengthens. Therefore, write, clarify, preserve. Transform your experience into permanent instruction. In doing so, you ensure that your wisdom does not depart with your breath, but remains as foundation for those who continue after you. After you have defined what must continue and recorded the philosophy that guided your life, you must turn your attention to the material structure that will carry that philosophy forward. Wealth is neutral. It strengthens what is strong and weakens what is weak. Without deliberate organization, it often becomes a source of confusion rather than security. Many men labor for decades to accumulate assets, yet leave them exposed to mismanagement because they postponed clear instruction. This is not prudence, it is avoidance. The same definiteness that built your estate must now protect it. Begin by creating a clear and legally sound will. Do not leave distribution to assumption. Ambiguity breeds conflict. Conflict dissolves unity. Specify clearly what is to be given, to whom, and under what conditions. If you believe in responsibility, structure your distribution accordingly. Wealth granted without expectation of stewardship can weaken character. Wealth paired with accountability strengthens discipline. Consult wise legal and financial counsel. Pride has no place in this task. The man who built wisely must also preserve wisely. Study examples of fortunes lost within a generation due to lack of structure. Assets divided without guidance become scattered. Scattered resources rarely endure. When you organize wealth deliberately, you transform it from temporary possession into enduring instrument. Pair financial gifts with instruction. Attach written explanation of why certain decisions were made. Clarify your reasoning so that those who follow do not misinterpret your intent. Let this affirmation guide you. My resources strengthen character and purpose. Speak it as you review your arrangements. Structure trusts or provisions where necessary to protect younger heirs from premature access. Encourage stewardship rather than indulgence. Wealth managed under principle multiplies. Wealth handled casually dissipates. Remove uncertainty now so that those you leave behind are spared unnecessary tension. Tension arising from confusion can undo years of harmony. Harmony preserved through clarity reflects wisdom. Organize assets in alignment with your recorded philosophy. If service was central to your life, allow a portion of your estate to support causes aligned with that service. If education shaped your rise, consider establishing provision that promotes learning. In this way, your resources continue expressing your values. The absence of organization invites misinterpretation. The presence of structure provides strength. Most families fracture not because of insufficient means, but because of insufficient clarity. Prevent that fracture. Act while your judgment is steady. Review arrangements periodically. Circumstances change. Structure must adapt without losing principle. Wealth directed with discipline becomes foundation. Wealth left undefined becomes hazard. The man who organizes his estate thoughtfully does not act from fear. He acts from responsibility. Responsibility is leadership extended beyond presence. When you complete this work, you will feel a quiet peace. Not because you have prepared for departure and sorrow, but because you have prepared for continuity and strength. Organized resources paired with recorded philosophy form the backbone of a lasting legacy. Without both, effort may scatter. With both, influence endures. After you have written your philosophy and organized your resources, there remains a dimension of legacy more powerful than documents. It is the life you are living while you prepare. Many believe legacy begins at death. It does not. It begins in daily conduct. Your habits are being observed more closely than your instructions. Children, associates, and those who respect you do not merely listen to what you say. They study what you repeat. Repetition becomes character. Character becomes imitation. Imitation becomes inheritance. If you speak of discipline but live casually, the example contradicts the instruction. If you speak of integrity but compromise in small matters, the compromise is remembered longer than the speech. Therefore, the fourth pillar of your legacy plan is conduct. Ask yourself honestly, what habits do I demonstrate daily? Do I rise with purpose? Do I honor commitments? Do I render service beyond what is expected? The habit of going the extra mile is not only a path to personal advancement, it is a living lesson to those who observe you. When they see consistency over years, they internalize it as normal behavior. Manage conflict with dignity. If disagreement arises in family or enterprise, demonstrate calm reasoning rather than agitation. This example may save decades of discord after you are gone. Demonstrate faith during adversity. If you endure financial or personal trial, allow those around you to witness steadiness rather than despair. That steadiness teaches resilience more effectively than instruction. Show financial discipline openly. Explain why you save, why you invest carefully, why you avoid waste. Transparency breeds understanding. Secrecy breeds confusion. Let this affirmation guide your conduct. My conduct is my enduring signature. Speak it before important decisions. When those who follow you reflect upon your life, they will remember patterns more than isolated events. They will recall that you were consistent, that your word carried weight, that your actions matched your values. Consistency is invisible inheritance. It does not require paper to transfer. It transfers through observation. Many men attempt to correct in writing what they neglected in living. Writing is essential, but living is foundational. If your daily life contradicts your recorded philosophy, confusion will arise. Align them. Integrity is agreement between word and action. Integrity modeled for decades becomes standard for generations. The discipline you demonstrate now may spare your successors from years of wandering. The faith you express now may sustain them in seasons of doubt. The restraint you practice now may protect them from waste. Conduct is not secondary to legacy. It is central. Without it, documents are hollow. With it, documents are reinforced. Every morning you rise with purpose. You are shaping what remains after you. Every decision made with integrity strengthens the invisible foundation of your estate. Legacy is not assembled in final days. It is constructed in ordinary ones. Build it deliberately. Let your habits speak as clearly as your written instructions. And when your name is spoken in your absence, let it represent steadiness, discipline, and strength that were visible long before departure. After you have defined your principles, recorded your philosophy, organized your wealth, and aligned your daily conduct with your values, there remains a responsibility many neglect until it is too late. That responsibility is preparation of those who will carry forward what you built. Assets transferred without preparation create burden rather than blessing. Authority handed down without training produces confusion. The wise man does not wait until his strength fades to discuss succession. He begins while his mind is sharp and his influence active. Identify clearly who will assume responsibility in business. In